Okay, so we're going to talk about our first unit, Unit 1 notes in economics. We're going to talk about scarcity, factors of production, opportunity cost, and production possibility curves, or PPC. All right, scarcity. When we talk about economics, the first thing economics students always learn about is scarcity. Scarcity is the number one problem economists are trying to solve. It's the term for a limited amount of goods, services, and they are always defined in scarcity. Your wants and your needs are infinite, meaning they're always there. They reach to the stars. You're always wanting something new, needing something new, and that will never end. As a public, as that part of the economy, wants and needs are infinite. They will never end. However, those things that you want and need in society wants and need are not infinite. There's a limited amount. And that defines scarcity. It is the first rule in economics. Your wants and needs are infinite, but the things to fill those wants and needs are not. And everybody wants and needs a lot of the same stuff. And there's only a finite amount of that stuff. And scarcity affects everyone. It affects the poorest of the poor and the richest of the rich. Scarcity affects everybody. It may affect them differently. If you are desperately poor and you can't afford bread, that's a different scarcity issue than Bill Gates wanting his fourth yacht. Goods, services, and times are all limited by scarcity. And we're not talking about just things like phones and bread and cars and gas and all that stuff. We're talking about services too. We're talking about time. Time is one of the most scarce objects of your life. Okay, to handle the problem of scarcity, an economy needs to produce goods and services. The four factors needed to produce these goods are, and when we're talking about solving the problem of scarcity, we're talking about the factors of production to solve the problem of scarcity. How do we make things less scarce than they are? Less limited. So we need to make things. And to make things, we need land. And that includes all the natural resources involved. You need labor. And we're talking about time and effort involved in producing things. You need people to build those things and produce those things. Capital. Capital is defined as money, tools, machinery, or anything owned by a business. And you need somebody to start that business, an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is the vision, skill, and ingenuity and risk taking involved in starting a new business. I would say risk taking is one of the most important parts of an entrepreneur. You need somebody to make that leap to start something new. All right, let's jump into opportunity cost. Opportunity cost and trade-offs are used to explain the cost or whatever you give up by choosing one thing over another. When you choose something that's scarce and give up something, that is an opportunity cost. I have a few examples here. Whenever we talk about economy, whenever we talk about scarcity, a lot of people think of money. And that's rightfully so because money is a tangible evidence of scarcity. It's a tangible evidence of economics. It's something you can hang on to. It's something you can give somebody else for a good. But when we're talking about economy and opportunity cost and scarcity, we're not just talking about money. Sure, my first example is if I give you $30, I get 15 gallons of gas. But another opportunity cost is I'm going out tonight. I'm going to go see a movie. I'm going to go hang out with friends. My trade-off is I'm probably not going to get that homework done. That is opportunity cost. You not doing your homework is the opportunity cost of going out tonight. Another one is I was a jerk. I was not very nice to somebody, and my opportunity cost is I may have lost that friend. I got something. I released some tension. I was a jerk, and I gave up something. I lost a friend. So opportunity cost can talk about money or any other tangible good or service. All right, production possibility curves. And this is all in your economics book, so this shouldn't be new. Hopefully you guys are seeing this too in other places. But a production possibility curve is just used to describe how many goods and services a business can make with the resources available. So a business is going to have a finite amount of resources, and that is the factors of production. They're going to have a limited amount of manpower, they're going to have a limited amount of capital, and they're going to have a limited amount of land. So they're going to use all of that to produce as many goods as possible. And this line here this curve represents the maximum amount of goods a company can make with their resources available. And this particular company makes clothes and food. So they need to figure out which they want to make more of. And when they make more food, as shown by dot C here, they will make less clothes. So for every 75 units of food, they'll make 100 units of clothes. And if they produce more clothes, if they produce 150 units of clothes, they will be making only 50 units of food. But 50 units of food and 150 units of clothes is their maximum output based on the resources they currently have. So this curve here is the maximum amount of output this business can produce. Dot E here is underproduction. This whole space under the curve represents E, or underproduction, inefficiency. F here represents impossibility, something that they cannot do. This whole area beyond the curve is impossible. They do not have enough resources to produce this much stuff. So F is an impossibility. E is inefficiency. C and D represent maximum efficiency or maximum output for the resources involved. And we don't just have to be talking about food and clothes or any particular goods, and we don't have to be talking about just one company either. A small nation could have a production possibility curve. If there's a small country in Europe or Africa that produces coal and iron, you could do it that way. That country can only produce so many units of iron versus so many units of coal. We can also be talking about services, or when I was a carpenter, we usually had two crews working on two different houses. I could put two different houses on here. We could one crew can frame 100 houses versus 50 the other crew could frame, or we could reallocate resources and frame 75 houses per 150 houses or whatever. So production possibility curve could be talking about many things, but the main goal of a production possibility curve is to show maximum output per resources that a business or a small nation might have. All right, so that is what I have for you in Unit 1. Hopefully this video will supplement what you've read in your economics book. Make sure you are reading the pages that you are supposed to be reading, or else none of this is really going to make sense. All right, Bye.